Good? Okay. The players came back on Sunday with good energy, just like I expected. It's a relentless group. I expect them to come back the way they did. They came back with good attitudes. We all know what's in front of us. Michigan's a really good football team. They're top 5 in rush offense, and then top 5 in every category on defense. Okay, and we know what we're getting into. We know the task at hand, but it's an opportunity, and the ball's going to kick off on Saturday. Questions?
Mickey, you guys have faced some pretty good running backs here the last couple of weeks, and now you got Blake Corum coming up. And Harbaugh was saying yesterday he's the best running back he's ever coached. I guess kind of what's your take on him from what you've seen?
No, he's a really good player. He's probably one of the top backs in the country. I think he's getting Heisman votes right now. But if you watch the film, he runs low to the ground. He runs with violence, and then he has a really good burst. So when he sees it, and he busts through the hole. But he's a really good football player.
Mickey, did Casey Thompson practice today, and what's his availability?
No, we held Casey today. Just trying to still be day by day with him, but we held him today. No reps today.
Mickey, how do you kind of get the team to not look at this as much as a big challenge, but as a big opportunity? I'm sure you don't have to do much, but how do you kind of get that mindset for the team?
We talked to him about having a lot of pride, about not being broken, and to continue to fight, and that we start something and we're going to finish it. And along the way, it's going to be some adversity, but we got to bow our neck and we got to play football. It's the only way you can approach it right now. But like I said, it's a good group of kids. They're not going to quit.
If Casey is out, do you go with Logan this week based on the end of the game last week?
I'm gonna make a decision probably Thursday after I watch them both practice, because I got to watch them both practice, and see which one's performing the best. But right now, I'm looking at both of them right now.
How do you balance sort of the human side of that quarterback juggling? Is it sort of a tough love deal, or you put your arms around him? How do you approach it?
Well, you got to put your arms around them. It's tough on them because you're asking kids that's been backups. Logan's probably had more success being a backup that he did it last year. Trevor did a little bit at Florida State, but you got to put your arms around them and give them some support and show that you believe in them, because they had a tough situation.
With Miles' situation, who do you then turn to after him in terms of safety depth?
Well, we have Phelan back there. We can get Singleton back there. And on Miles' situation, Miles, he made a mistake. He made a bad mistake, and we don't condone that. We always talk about protect the football team, and he didn't. And he will be suspended this week, and we'll reevaluate him after this week. But it's something that you can't do. I mean, that's not smart. And we always say protect the team. And I'm very disappointed in Miles. And Miles he's gonna make this right. He's gonna do some things to get back in good grace with this football team. But we're not gonna condone that. That's bad. That's a bad situation. He understands. He's a good kid. He made a mistake, but we can't make mistakes like that.
With the quarterback evaluations, how do you balance like what you're seeing in practice with what you've seen on the field so far?
Well, who's making the throws? Who's getting us in the correct run plays? And they're competing right now. And we'll look at each practice and say, okay, he performed really good this day. He performed really good this day. And on Thursday we have to make a decision. So we'll just look at their reps.
How is Logan practice? That you mentioned after the game, like maybe he wasn't as consistent practicing. Has he been more of a gamer than he's been in practices, or how would you describe him?
You're right. I think Logan's more of a gamer, but he's got to practice better. And he understands that. And Logan is really going to attack this week, trying to be a better practice player. That's his goal this week.
Mickey, would you rule out Casey at this point?
Right now, just looking at him today, I probably will rule out Casey. If he don't go by tomorrow. If he doesn't go by tomorrow, I'm gonna have to rule him out. I mean, I look at these kids as my sons, so I'm not gonna put them out there if they can't go. And with Casey, like I said, Casey's going to say he's feeling better, but I got to be smart with Casey and not put him out there if he can't perform at a high level.
Is the issue gripping the ball with him?
I think it's more gripping the ball right now. Still got a little nerve damage in his pinky.
And Mick, how do you get these guys to believe that they can compete? And not only compete, but to pull off the upset. I mean, you have like almost 30-point underdog.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you get these guys to believe?
Well, you continue to motivate them and talk to them about their good plays and talk to them about playing 60 minutes. We didn't play 60 minutes this past game, and talk to them that we got to compliment each the offense and defense and special teams. We got to work together, and that we're going to do a better job as a coaching staff of working together this week, trying to get them to be successful.
And maybe after a couple weeks or a game and a half of seeing both Purdy and some others, do you as a staff still look at it as a situation where one of the guys is stronger at leading your run game and the other one is stronger when you need to throw the ball, or is that more meshed together?
Well, we're trying to mesh that together right now. You know, we think Purdy's the better thrower, but Logan he can make throws also, and we think Logan's the better runner. You know, it happens like that. Each quarterback's going to have different strengths and weaknesses.
One of the things you talked about after the Oklahoma game was that you need to slow some things down. You not to give away your game plan, but because of the quality of the opponent that you're going against, is there some tendency to want to use some clock this week?
I think if you've been in this league and you understand what you're looking at as a coach, you understand that you got to slow it down because everybody else is slowing it down. Just the way this league is built, and we got to play Big Ten football, and we eventually trying to get to that. But we got to play Big Ten football, and you got to try to slow it down.
Mickey, you said you were going to look at that film and see why the run game slowed down in the second half on Saturday. Did you notice anything in particular?
Well, we got to trust and be happy with 3 and 4 yard runs. You got to be happy with them, and so we got to say, hey, we got a 3 yard run. Let's pad it back up and go back at it again, and maybe we get another 3 yard run. Now it's 3rd and 4. It's manageable.
When you say we, do you mean the coaches? Or?
We, me, the coaches. The kids not calling the plays.
Right.
We are.
So is that a conversation you have with
Absolutely. We had that conversation.
How'd it go?
That's between me and Whipple.
Hey, the rankings say Michigan is a better team in Illinois and Minnesota, the two teams you just played. What does the film say about why they might be a little bit better than those teams, or are they comparable to Illinois?
Well, they're a very talented football team. You see talent across the board. You see talent when they put their twos out there. It's a very talented 85 scholarship group. And I think they're probably the best team that we're going to face this year for as talent-wise. But they're well coached. Harbaugh does a really good job. They're well coached. They're a tough team. They do a lot in the run game. They do a lot on defense. And they got a high football IQ football team, and they're an older football team. So you're dealing with a really good, solid football team this week.
Is there anything horrible from last year's game? When Nebraska came really close to beating a really good team last year?
Well, I usually watch the last game that they played last year. I usually watch it on Thursday, so I didn't watch the game last year.
Mickey, kind of off the football topic, but the NCAA the last couple of years has kind of made a push to try to get, athletes voting. Is that anything you guys talk about since today's election day?
Yes, we brought Dr. Cheddars in last week, and we talked about voting.
What's the message on that?
Get out and vote. Get out and vote. You can't make them, but you tell them get out and vote. So they're kids. They're kids. They think everything's going to be normal the rest of their life. They're having fun.
Anything else?
What's your running back situation look like after Anthony? Will you get Gabe back this week?
Yeah, Gabe practiced today. Gabe looked good today. We worked him out yesterday. Just the trainers just running through some things, and he looked really good today. But he's a turf toe, and I had turf toe before, and that's a tricky injury. That they can come and it can go. But he practiced today.
Nick, how important is communication, especially losing Miles in the back end? He did a lot of that. I have everybody up in their level to make sure that the calls are right and the position is okay.
Well, Buford's capable of getting it done, lining everybody up. And Luke's out there. Luke, scream. You have a lot of hand signals that we can communicate. We lose a lot with Miles. But Buford can handle that situation.
This is a larger picture question. But
Okay.
as it relates to the safety position, there's a lot of guys on the team, but a lot of them, you're again in a position to play as a walk-on. Is there something there that you feel like needs to be recruited
recruited differently or developed differently so that there's more of the scholarship guys are getting a chance to, they're on the field because they're ready to play and they're playing well?
Yeah, and you know, it goes back to when you're out recruiting. You got, you know, I think when you go in a poto and you go get a junior college kid, that you got to vision them as starters. Something like free agency. When you go to the Saints and you pull a kid to the Falcons, he's coming in, he's going to be a starter. I think a high school kid, you can look at him and say, okay, I'm going to develop him in 2 years. And that's the big thing about once you recruit him, we got to keep him in the program. We got to keep him here. That's what everybody in the Big Ten's doing. They're keeping their kids here, and now their kids are, you know, with the COVID, fifth year juniors, 6 year seniors. We got to get to that. We're a young football team right now, but we got to get to that, and it goes back to recruiting, but it also goes by when they get here that we start developing them and keep them in. You can't develop them if they're not here, but we got to keep them here.
Have you ever been on a team that was a 20 or 29 point underdog, and how do you kind of?
You talking about when I played?
As a player, as a coach?
Absolutely not. No. Never been underdog like that, you know. But it happens, you know. It happens.
What does that say? I mean, when the odds makers have you think you guys?
I don't know. I mean, it means they think they're 4 touchdowns better than you. That's what they're saying, you know. But you still got to kick the football off. You still got to kick the ball off. We got to go out. We got to play at a top level. We got to, like we said, we got to play 60 minutes. But we're not going to back down. We're not going to back down. We're not going to say, oh, we're going to throw the towel in. These kids won't do that. These coaches won't do that. We're not going to do that.
Is there something that, I know Caleb said after the game he wishes his defense had put together 4 quarters, but is there something to be taken from that game against Minnesota, kind of how the first 2.5, 3 quarters went, or 2 quarters?
Yeah, you know, and I mean, you know, Caleb speaks his mind, and you know, he wanted to make sure we play 60 minutes as a defense. The defense played lights out, but we can help the defense also, but we got to continue to try to play 60 minutes of football on all 3 phases.
Mickey, what's your point of view on Harbaugh? You guys are kind of somewhat close in age as contemporaries, as college quarterbacks, and watched his career, and what do you think of the job he's done at Michigan in 7 years?
Well, I think he's done a great job. You know, he was a really good quarterback in the league, and he's a really good football coach. His brother's a really good football coach in the Ravens. My brother, Vance, knows his brother. So it's something like my family. It's a football family. He does a really good job. I had a chance to meet him in Birmingham, Alabama, when I was at LSU. He was a great guy to talk to. But he's got a really strong football team, and it's because he's a really good football coach, and he's real organized, and he preaches toughness. And they're tough. You can watch it on film. They're a tough football team.
You see the way he built at Stanford with the Niners here, some similarities that seem to be just physical play, running the ball, stopping the run. Are those, you know, what's your perspective on that?
Well, I think that's the way you have to build your football team in this conference. I think you got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to stop the run, but it's still got to be physicality. And I think he's done a really good job of doing that. He started at Stanford, like you say, went to the 49ers, then he went to Michigan. So he has a really good philosophy of what he wants to do, and he's been successful with it. Take your hat off to him.
Anything else, Coach?
Thank you.